Hello and welcome back to PA Academy. So we have been looking at Newton-Raphson iteration involving two variables. All right. So in the previous part was more like an introduction. We have shared with you an explanation and the general formula on how to solve linear equations involving using the Newton-Raphson. Okay. I mean non-linear equation rather. All right. So now let's look at this example. Like I said, we are going to be using an example to analyze everything we've said in the previous part. And just in case you missed that part, just check the video before this. You're going to see that video. All right. So let's start with this solution right here. Now the question says find correct to two decimal places the root of the system of equation. So here is the equation right here. Okay, so you can see we have x and y. That's to let you know that you are dealing with two variables, unlike when we looked at one variable where we are dealing mostly with x. All right, and then it said x squared plus y squared minus 1 equals to 0, and then x squared plus y squared plus 0.5 equals to 0. So we are given that we should take our x naught and y naught to be y and 2. Okay, 1 comma 2. So that means our x naught is 1, and then so that means our x naught is 1 and then our y naught is 2. So basically that's just the meaning. So to start with, I haven't shared you what the general formula looks like. Let me go back to that particular page that shows for two variable. Okay, so you can see it now. So this is what the general formula looks like. Okay, so that means from those two equations that they gave us, we are going to look for this value, all of these values right here. We are going to look for them, and I'm going to show you how you can do just that. Okay, so to start with, we have, if you look at it, we have f of x and y. So our f of x and y is this our first equation right here, which is x squared plus y squared minus 1. We also have our g of x comma y, which will be our second equation, which is x squared plus y squared plus 0.5. You don't need to add the equals to sign again. So another one that we are going to need to calculate is our f of x. So for you to get the f of x, okay, so that means we are just going to differentiate this one with respect to x. Okay, so in doing that, we're going to consider this is just the x that we have here, and if we should differentiate that, we are going to be getting 2x. Okay, so sorry, this is f prime of x rather. There's a f prime, that's why we are differentiating. Okay, and then we're also going to do the same thing for f prime of y, which means we are going to be differentiating this with respect to y. So that's going to give us 2y. Then we're also going to have g prime of x. So that means we are differentiating this with respect to x. So with that, we are going to be having 2x, and then we are going to be having g prime with respect to y. So that means we are also differentiating this with respect to y, and this is also going to give us, okay, there is a negative sign here, okay, just in case this is minus here. If you look at the question, okay, all right, so it's supposed to be, I think I made a mistake while writing it. So this is negative right here. All right, so that's negative, okay, not positive. Okay, so g prime of y, so my boundary, how did I know? I've actually solved the question earlier. That's 2y. Okay, so this is the first thing you need to do. You need to get all of these values. All right, then before you start your iteration. All right, so just to make it easy, let me do the first iteration just by the side so that we can be seeing all of this right here, okay, side by side. So let me just write it here that for the first iteration, okay, so for the first iteration, we already told that our x naught is equals to 1. Okay, let me write it on the side because of space. Okay, so we already told that our x naught is equals to, you can see, 1, and then our y naught is equals to 2. That means from here. All right, so what it means is that you are going to substitute, since for the first iteration we are going to substitute the value of x equals to 1 and y equals to 2 into all of this right here. Okay, so that's how I want to do it side by side so that you can get it. So if you should do it here for this first one now, so let me just bring it here. If you should do it for this first part here, so that means our f of x comma y is equals to x squared plus y squared minus 1. So that's equals to 1 plus y squared, which is 2 squared plus 4 minus 1, and that's going to give us 4. Okay, so for this second one, which is g of x comma y, which is x squared minus y squared, so that's going to be 1 minus 4 plus 0.5, and that's going to give us minus 2.5. So for this now, which is f prime of x, which is 2x, so that's going to be 2 times 1, that's equals to 2. So for this, which is f prime of y, which is 2y, that's going to be 2 times 2, which is 4. So now for g prime of x, we've gotten it to be 2x, which is going to be 2 times 1, which is equals to 2. And then we've also have for g prime of y equals to minus 2y, which is equals to minus 2 times our y is 2, which is equals to minus 4. All right, so that's why I did it side by side, so that you can really understand what is going on. When you get to the second iteration also, we are going to be having a new value for our x naught, and then that time is going to be x1 and y1. So that's what we are going to use for our second iteration, and then you are still going to repeat all of this again. Okay, but when we get there, you understand better. So let's take it one step at a time. So now we've gotten the value for all of these. The next thing now is to bring in the general formula. Okay, so let me see if I can just copy that instead of rewriting it again. So you can see this general formula. So let me try and just copy it right here for x now. Okay, copy. So let's go and paste it so that we can put in the values. Okay. All right, so now this is the formula here. So let me just do it by the side so that we can also just see it side by side. Okay, so for the x now, so xn, which is our x naught right here, is 1. You can see it here, is 1. So we are going to be having 1 plus then this vertical line. So minus fxy. Now if you check here, we already have fxy. This is it. Fxy, we have already gotten it to be 4. So but that other one is negative, so we'll just have it as minus 4. So that means this is going to be minus 4. So the next one is minus g of xy, minus g xy into bracket xy. Okay, so you can see we already have it to be minus 2.5. okay, but what we need is negative, so if you multiply it by minus 2.5, it's just going to give us 2.5. okay, so this is 2.5. So on the other side we have f prime of y, this is it right here. We have it to be 4, so this is just going to be 4 over here. Okay, then we have g prime of y, so this is it right here. We have it to be minus 4, so it's going to be minus 4. So we've done the numerator, so let's come here. Now this division sign does not consign this 1 over here, okay, or whatever value you are having there. So don't make the mistake. That's another common mistake. You are going to calculate this whatever is here independently. Okay, and if you check here, you see that something like this. Okay, so this here, this is it right here. So that you don't make mistake that can affect your final answer. All right, so now let's do for that of the denominator. We have f prime of x, so let's go back and see f prime of x. This is it right here. We have it to be 2. We also have g prime of x, this is it right here. We also have it to be 2. Okay, then f prime of y and then g prime of y, so that will be 4 and then minus 4. Okay, you see that it's the same thing with what we have here. All right, so let me take out some of this circle that I'm putting for explanation's sake. All right, so now we can proceed. Okay, so I can now go ahead and write it here. So that's equals to 1 plus, now what's happening here is that to solve this, you are going to be having minus 4 times minus 4 minus 2.5 times 4. You know, this is you might have come across this in matrix, so that's how you calculate it. Okay, so it's going to be, just open the bracket, 16 minus 10 over, then the same thing here, 2 times minus 4, which is minus 8, minus another 2 times 4 here, that's 8. Okay, so with this you are having 1 plus 6 over minus 16, and that will give us 1 minus 6 over 16. Okay, so if you do your calculation properly, you are going to be having your x1 to be equals to 0.63. all right, and don't forget the question says we should do it to 2 decimal points. So most, if you are not getting a whole number, your approximation should be in 2 decimal points. Okay, so now we've gotten that of x1. Now we are going to repeat the same thing for that of y. So let me copy that of y. Okay, so this is the one for y. So let me copy it. So this is where we wrote that of y. Copy. So let's just go and paste it so that we can also do this side by side. So guys, if you are finding value in the video, please give the video a thumbs up. All right. So this is for the y. So we are going to repeat the same thing for y. So there's an over sign here, the division sign rather. So y naught, we are told that is 2. I mean, let's confirm. Okay, you can see it here. We are told that it's 2. So we are going to be having 2 plus, okay, so f prime of x. So the same thing, f prime of x, this is it, is 2. Okay, so this is where I'm going to pick in all those values. I hope you already understand how to pick it now, so I don't need to be going front and back. So I can just go ahead. It's going to be 2 for this now. F into bracket x comma y. So the negative of it will give us minus 4, and then this is going to be 2. This is going to be 2.5 divided by f prime of x is also 2, g prime of x, and then this is going to be 4 and minus 4. I hope you already understand how we're able to arrive at all of this. Okay, so the next thing here, we are going to be having 2 plus, so this is going to be 2 times 2.5. That is going to be 5, then minus 2 times minus 4, that's 8. I mean, that's minus 8. So minus 8 over, so 2 times minus 4, that's minus 8, minus 4 times 2, minus 8. Okay, so that is how the calculation will look like. So we are going to be having 2 plus 5 plus 8. Okay, so I'm just taking now time to simplify this over minus 8 minus 8. So this will be 2 plus 13 over minus 16. Okay, so if you do this correctly, you are going to be having your y1 to be equals to 1.19. all right, so we've gotten our x1 and our y1. all right, so that's for the first iteration. all right, so now we are going to be going to the next iteration. Now, just like I said when we are doing the first using one variable, okay, I said you are going to continue finding the value of x and y until you have a value that is exactly the same thing or very, very close. Okay, and the reason why I said very, very close is that sometimes due to approximation, the value might not want to look the same thing. But when you see that it's very, very close, then that is where you are going to stop. all right, so now for our second iteration, so for second iteration, now we have our x1 to be equals to, so what do you get for our x1? 0.63, 0.63. Then we have our y1, which we've just gotten, to be 1.19. okay, so that is 1.19. all right, so now what we did earlier is what we are going to do again. So we are going to start calculating for let's go back there. So now we are going to repeat everything that you are seeing here, especially this side. We are going to repeat it because now we have a new value for our x1 and our y1. okay, so to make it easier, this is what we are going to do. So let me just copy this so that we can also have it side by side. Okay, so let me just copy this. So guys, if you are finding value in the video, please give the video a thumbs up. So let me just copy this. all right, okay, so it should be easier like this. So let me just take this part off. Okay, All right, so now we already have a new value for our x and then for our y. So for this one now, we are going to be having x squared plus y squared minus 1. So our x squared, so that means we are going to be having 0.63 squared plus 1.19 squared minus 1. So if you do this correctly, you are going to be having 0.81. While for this x squared, so that will be 0.63 squared minus 1.19 squared plus 0.5. If you do this, you are going to be having minus 0.52. Okay, so make sure you confirm all of this. So for this now, we are having 2x, that's going to be 2 times 0.63. Okay, and that's going to give us 1.26. While for this, we are going to be having 2y, which is 2 times 1.19, and that's going to give us so they'll give us 2.38. And then for this g prime of x, all right, so it's going to be 2 times 0.63, and that's also give us 1.26. And then we also have the last one here, which is g prime of y. Okay, so g prime of y is going to be minus, so that'll be minus 2 times our y again is 1.19. That's going to minus 2.38. Okay, so these are the values that we need. So the next thing is to put it in for that of y and that of x. So I'm going to need to copy the equation again so that we don't need to, I don't want to waste time with that. So we are going to repeat the process just like we did for the first iteration. All right, so right now we have our xn. Okay, with the value of our x, which is the x we've just gotten, that's 0.63. So we are going to be having as this xn right now will be 0.63 plus, okay, so minus, so this value f of x, y, which is this right here, but there's a negative, so that's going to be minus 0.81, minus 0.81. So f prime of y, so this is it, f prime of y, so which is 2.38. So 2.38. So you're going to repeat the same thing with the other value. I believe by now you should be familiar with how to get some of those values. That's minus 2.38. This will be minus 2.38, then divided by, so f prime of x, which is 1.26. Okay, so you're going to be having it to be 1.26 over 1.26, and then 2.38, and then here is going to be minus 2.38. All right, so if you should solve this, okay, so let's go to this side. So if you solve this, we are going to be having 0.63, which is this 0.63. Now remember, you're going to multiply this and subtract it from the product of these two. The same thing here, you multiply this with this, and then you subtract it, you subtract this by the product of this. Okay, so that was 0.63 plus, so if you do that correctly, you're going to be having 1.93 minus 1.24, okay, divided by minus 2.99 multiplied by 2.99. All right, so if you do your calculation right, you're going to be getting 0.51. Okay, so 0.51. So that means our x2 will be equal to 0.51. All right, so we've gotten our x2. Now let's go ahead and get our y2. So guys, if you are finding value in the video, please go ahead, give the video a thumbs up. Okay, now let's look for the y2. Right, so I've copied the formula again. This is the formula again, so just for us to put in the values again. By now you should be familiar with the values. F prime of x, again from what we calculated earlier, this is it, f prime of x, which is 1.26. You know, all of these values, just locate them here. Okay, so once you locate them here, you look for their corresponding value, and then you just come and put it with the formula. So let me just go ahead and put it. So for this now, our y1, okay, remember we're calculating for y2, so we are going to use y1 here. So we are going to be having 1.19, then our vertical dash 1.26, 1.26, so minus 0.81, then 0.52, then divided by 1.26, 1.26, okay, and then for here our f prime of y will be 2.38, and then our g prime of y will be minus 2.38. Okay, so if you do this correctly, like I've explained, you multiply this together, then minus the product of this, also multiply this, and then minus the product of this. Okay, so if you do this correctly, you are going to be having 1.19 plus then 1.6758. So if you should do this correctly, you are going to be getting 1.6758 divided by minus 5.99. Okay, and that's going to give you 0.91. So with this now, our y2 is equals to 0.91. Okay, and don't forget we've gotten our x2 to be 0.51. Now if you look at it now, let me write our y1, and then so our y1 we got earlier was 1.19, and then our x1 we got earlier was x1 is 0.63. So that means we've not gotten to the point where we are going to stop, because if you look at it, they are not similar. This is what we got now, 1.91, and what we got earlier is this. You can see they are not anywhere close. This was what we got earlier, this is what we got now. They are still not anywhere close. All right, so that means we are going to do a third iteration. Okay, but I want you to do that as an assignment, and let me know what you're going to get in the comment section. However, I've done it on my own, but I don't want to include it in this video because the video will be damn too long than I want. Okay, but when I did mine, this is what I got. As for my x3, I got my x3 to be 0.50, and then I got my y3 to be equals to 0.71. Okay, so let me know if you also got something like this, okay, when you did your x3 and your y3. But left to me, I'm going to stop at x3 because I can see a very, very close between my x2 and my x3, because this is 0.51 and this is 0.50, and which I want to believe this 0.50 was due to some approximation just to maintain the 2 decimal points. Okay, so personally I will just stop at the third iteration. Okay, so I hope you already understand how to know when to stop. I've explained it also in the when we are looking at Newton-Raphson iteration involving one variable. Okay, so again, do make sure you do the third iteration, and then it's just the same process with what we did in our first iteration, second iteration. Okay, just that for this third iteration now, we are going to be working with this y2 and x2. Okay, and let me know what your answer is. If you were able to arrive at this, let me know. If you arrive at something different, just let me know in the comment section. And if you don't understand everything we've just done, I will encourage you to watch the beginning part of this video involving one variable, then you watch this over again so that you have a full understanding of everything. So guys, I hope you find value. If you do, please give the video a thumbs up. If you are still here to subscribe, go ahead, click on that subscribe button, and if you have any question, just leave it in the comment section. So thank you very much guys. My name is Prosper, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye for now.